day. I'm hungry and I'm ready for change. I run too far to still be the same. See who I was, I give him away today.
Hello, welcome to an all-new episode of Serving the God TV. My guest today attends For Christ Ministry in Woodbridge, Virginia. She is a member of her praise team, and most importantly, she is filled with the Holy Spirit. Please welcome to my show, Brittney Ivy.
Hi, my name is Brittney Ivy, and I'm here on Serving of God TV. I am from Washington, D.C. I'll give you a little bit about my history. I actually grew up in the church. I grew up with church-going parents, and we were one of those people who were in church like all throughout the week. I would have to say, I guess in my opinion, growing up, I was in a very strict household. My mother and my biological father separated when I was 11 months old, and my mom remarried, and my stepfather is who I have known to be as my father for most of my life. They are unfortunately no longer together as well, but they had the longest running marriage, and my mother was recently married for 28 years, something like that. For the most of it, my childhood was actually outstanding. I grew up in a very well-to-do neighborhood in the suburbs of Clinton, Maryland, and I went to a private Christian school, and I was even also homeschooled and graduated early. Went off to college at about 18 years old, and I was so happy to get out of my parents' house. Our upbringing was very, very, very strict. We had lots of fun. There was a lot of family-oriented moments. Like I recall my family even taking vacations just to a local hotel just to go away for the weekend. It was really weird, but my mom and my dad were very, very big on family-oriented activities. We always went away and did things as a family. Now, us as the kids, we were young growing up. We appreciated it to a certain extent, but we kind of always wanted to get out and do our own thing because we couldn't do what the other kids were doing. I appreciate my upbringing because it did save me. I don't know where I would be had I not made the choice to follow Christ at a young age. It only came because of my upbringing. Now, I was always, as a kid, I was actually, all my brothers and sisters, they shared the same mom and dad. But as I mentioned before, my parents, my biological father, divorced my mother when I was 11 months old. So I didn't grow up with my biological father. There was always this piece of me that longed to have that identity. Who was my father? I wanted that connection. And there were things about me that acted out that manifested that, but I didn't even realize it until a later age. So when I was younger, I was always quote unquote boy crazy. I loved boys. I loved the boys. And they loved me. Somehow or another, that actually was some form of security that I looked for because I didn't have a proper relationship with my father, and I looked for it in a man, and that manifested all throughout my life. I tended to, when I got in relationships, I guess, put too much into the guy that I was with. Now, I've always been a romantic person. I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love romance, and I love love, and I always have. I've always been attracted to those types of things. I've always been attracted to having a family, and I've been wanting to be married since I was like 10 years old, and all these different types of things, but I didn't realize that these things stemmed from my not having a father in my life. Now, I did mention that I had a stepfather who was there and who married my mom, and they were married for 20-something years, but that doesn't mean that he was an active role in my life. That doesn't mean that he was there, because he wasn't really there like that. So that put me at a distance, because here are all my other brothers and sisters. They all share the same dad. My mom and dad are separated, and I have another sibling from my dad. So I didn't know what family to belong. I had a different last name. I was the only one. Sometimes I felt just different. And it wasn't satisfying that my dad wasn't there. That didn't help. Anyways, I put a lot of emphasis on my friends, and most of them were male. And fortunately, a lot of females who go down that path of, and it's not uncommon these days when you have males who are not there for their daughters, for their kids, no less. It's not uncommon. It's all over the place. And honestly, a lot of females who go down that path, they tend to give so much of themselves to these men physically. They sleep with these dudes for attention because they're craving security and love, because they're insecure, because they don't know who they are. They let the world define them. And one thing the Lord told me a long time ago about myself, because I used to be a very insecure person, and He explained to me the reason I was insecure is because I dwelt on the opinion of others. And see, that's the only thing. People's opinions change. You can't define yourself by other people's opinions. Nonetheless, on this path to learning and discovering who I was friends with a lot of males, and I can say, fortunately, God's honest truth, I lied to you never forgot, I slept with none of them. I slept with none of them. I was never that type of female. I actually only wanted companionship from a male because there was that security that I longed for that was like implanted in me since a child, because I was actually abandoned in that regard. So I would be friends with males, and lots of them, probably, they kind of probably might have wanted to try to get with me, but I wasn't on that. I didn't care. I just wanted to be their friend because I wanted a male friend. I needed that counterpart. I needed that security that was lacking. I had a lot. I used to chill with a different dude every night, and I saw myself headed on a very unstable path, because while I had many, people didn't understand that I was using them for my own entertainment. I would say that, but I was actually using them because there was a piece in me that was missing. I needed that security from a father. I mean, I didn't look at them as dad, but I realized, looking back on my life now, this is why I had this issue growing up. I mean, I had tons and tons of guys, and like I said, fortunately, I didn't sleep with any of them. They always helped me out. They would do favors for me, take me places, get me things. They were willing to drop lots and lots of, they were just very, very helpful, and they were actually good, genuine friends too. But it was, I heard someone say one time, if you feel like you can't live without it, it's probably an idol. I had a lot of idols in my life. I really did. Like I said, at 17, I went away to school. 18. Before I went away, I met a guy. It was in January. I met this guy, and his name was, I don't know if I should say his name. I'll call him D. And I met him in the store, and first of all, I was not attracted to him whatsoever. I liked the attention that I got from guys. So it got to the point where it didn't matter what he looked like. I just wanted attention. So if he showed me attention, I would play that role, and I would milk it. So some people would have called me a tease because I didn't want anything from him. I just wanted attention. Nonetheless, I met D in the store on the way down to my dad's birthday party with my cousin. So at any rate, one thing led to another, and everything moved so fast. I was 17 when I met him, and a year later, I was pregnant. Well, my world, it actually plummeted. It crashed. I wasn't ready for a child at the time. I had been living any old kind of way. And I didn't expect that to happen. I had been doing everything that I wanted to do. And, our relationship started getting very rocky. Everything for me went downhill from there because I didn't know what I was going to do. So there were different options. The first option, of course, was to get an abortion. I was like, there's no way I'm keeping this job. There's no way. I was 18 actually when I got pregnant. There was no way I was keeping no child. I didn't want no child. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, but I wasn't ready for a child.